It's the 6th of December 2018. We paired up on the 1st and 2nd of December. This is the same loft as we saw in the previous video. If you haven't seen the previous video, I suggest you go and have a look before watching this one. Hopefully it will make a bit more sense then. Thought I'd revisit this section to show you how we have got on. Obviously there are a lot of new pairs in here, and I said there were 50% new pairs, but actually I think there are slightly more. As you can see, we've got everything out apart from 3 boxes, although these 3 boxes have all been out in the days previous. We've had a few minor issues, nothing major. Box 8 have now moved to box 3, and vice versa, box 3 have gone into box 8. The reason I've got box 3 locked away is to make sure that box 8 are happy in their box before I let them back out again, which I'm pretty sure they are, but it just gives me an easier time to keep an eye on the birds. You can see there's a good bit of noise in the loft now compared to last time. That's partially because behind me, this loft I'm actually standing in, I've opened up the windows. All of these are all out, all 15, 16 boxes are all out, flying out, so they're now able to go in and out the aviary. You can see there's a good tussle going on there between the red and the blue. They're both holding their box, no trouble at all. The red just wants to test him out every so often. I want to keep the enthusiasm of the birds up, so at the moment we haven't put any straw in, but I will do tomorrow. Today I shall be letting these ones out into the aviary for the first time since they've been paired. All the 3 pairs that you see that are locked away have actually been out. Obviously the white was out in the original video at the very bottom there. I've let box 14 and 16 out this morning. I didn't want him going overpowering the 2 cocks in there. So I'm letting them make sure that they hold their box nicely before I let him back out. The bottom left hand box, box 13, he's an old boy, the oldest one that we've paired, an 03 bred pigeon, but I had a spare box and a spare yearling hen and saw no reason why not to pair them. So I've let him go in there. If he fertiles, he fertiles. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm not too worried. But they're paired, but she's not going back to the box at the moment. That's why they're still in the box. So I shall leave them in the box for half a day today, these 3 pairs that are still locked away, while Caesar flying in and out. But once I come back around about midday, I shall let these 3 boxes out, but I'll close the windows up so I can keep a better eye on them. Box 14, you may have noticed, are slightly different to the rest in here. They're not in there at the moment, they're wandering around the floor, but I'm sure before somebody asks, they're a pair of capuchins, which are the supposed to be the kids, but the wife seems pretty interested in them as well. So as we've got a couple of spare boxes around the stock lofts, I thought no reason why they can't go in there. They're much more placid than the race birds. They are paired, but they certainly don't show the enthusiasm that the others do. In here we haven't really had any major problems. All the pairs have gone together, no issues that way, and the only swapping of boxes has been box 3 and box 8. This I'm not worried about. They can sort it out themselves, and as long as they stay where, as long as they go where they stay, that's absolutely fine with me. But all in all, considering these were brand new pairs in this loft, only 1 pair has ever been paired together before, but not in this section, and with over 50% of them new cocks to the boxes, I think this is pretty successful in, well, under 6 days. So what I'll do now, as I said earlier, I want to increase the excitement between the loft, because generally these ones are sitting in here fairly calm and quiet in their nest boxes, which is all good. But I want the cocks to be active and the hens to be active to get them in laying condition. So now's the time to let them out the window. As I said before, we've got a 4-foot opening, 2 2-foot windows. If it's cold, when pairing up I would only open the one, but this year it's particularly warm at this time of the year. It certainly isn't what we would call cold. There's no biting winds, certainly coming from this direction, although this loft does face the prevailing southwest winds. So I shall open up both of these windows so they've got the full flight out into the aviary. I shall do this now and attempt to angle the camera so you can see. The birds have as big a flight as they have loft inside, and as you can see they're not overly bothered about going out. Most of the birds will actually spend most of the time within the loft itself and not be out in the aviaries. We have a bigger section behind me that has an aviary, and it holds 32 pairs in this section, but I can't actually see any pairs outside at the moment. This, as you can see, the birds just going out nicely now, will excite the males to drive the females, and also excite those ones, as you might be, well, you can't see because there's a bar in the way, excite the ones in the boxes as well to get them a bit more motivated. I want to up the motivation of the birds now as we get towards the 10 to 15 day period, as I want all of our birds to lay within that period of time. We usually achieve 90 to 95% of the birds lay within the 10 to 15 days. And we usually have over 95% fertility. And that's obviously with pigeons paired up to 10-year-olds, but as every year we have the odd ones that are over 10 years old, as in box 13 in here, who's a 2003 bred pigeon. We've got a 2007 bred cockbird as well paired. As far as I can think, that's the oldest two pigeons we have paired. Everything else is up to 10 years old, up to and including 10 years old. So as you can see, only a couple of pairs have gone out, but I'm sure more will go out during the day, get a bit of exercise and enjoy themselves. Not particularly anything weather-wise happening outside, just a dull, overcast winter's day, warm and dry. And I'll take you around some of the other sections in a minute. So here we are, just a quick look at this section. This is the biggest section we house. 32 nest boxes, and all full this year for the first time. As you can see, they're all fairly quiet and calm. Just two boxes locked away. They've both been out, but the bottom left hand side that you can see in the video behind the drinker there, they should have been in the one to the right, but the ones to the left wanted to swap with them, so I'm just making sure the ones in box 26, which is the ones to the right of the closed away box, are happy there. And then I will let a pair of yearlings out later on today and see if they'll stay in box 25, the one that's actually locked away at the moment. The other box that you can see with a drinker on the front, it's box 20, not that you can see that from here probably, but last year the hen he was with, they only had young birds and eggs on the floor. I want to make sure they stay in that box this year. They've been in and out, but I just want to reassure them that that's their box. And I think box 19 was part of the issue last year because they used to be in 20 and decided to swap, but they wanted both boxes to themselves. So again, they'll come out later today. The big window is open for the aviary, but actually I don't think there's anybody out there at the moment. I think they're all in here. Like to give them the option, because if there's a pair that want to tread, then they can find a secluded place and not get knocked off by somebody else. Quite a few fanciers keep the birds locked in their pens and nest boxes until they lay their first egg to make sure that they are from that pair. Nearly all of our sections are pure sections, so Leonbor's in one section, Jansen's in another. This is one of only 2 sections that have a mixed flock, but we are slowly changing these to just Leonbor's in here. But as you can see, I can't really see there would be any issue with these cocks treading other hens. Most of the time they're sat with their pairs in their nest boxes, and because I keep a close eye on them, I've never really seen any issues.